Hi, Jeremy Scott here. How are you doing? Welcome to another episode of the Re-Emerging Earth podcast, the No Frills podcast, which talks about all things spiritual, related topics, in an effort to help and guide us through the darkness which I feel we find ourselves in, into a more enlightened way, into a more enlightened world in that effect. So, I'm back in the graveyard. Because it's a lovely day, and I actually came here to shoot a video a little bit earlier on, and the theme of that video is also going to be the topic of this particular podcast or episode as in that way, because the question I was asking in the video was, is this it? We're born, we live a life in whatever way, shape or form that happens to be. Then we die and we're laid to rest in a place like this. And depending on what you believe, certainly in the Western world, we tend to believe that's where we stay. We might, our souls, or whatever you want to call it, the spirit, who we are essentially, goes to a place, maybe something like a celestial waiting room, where we're then called forward to be judged on what we've done through our life as a human. And based on that, we'll determine whether we get through the pearly gates or cast down into the depths of a hell of some kind. And that comes mainly from the Christian religion, but I believe there's other Western religions who have that kind of topic as well, that kind of belief as well, that we all go somewhere else once we die to be judged. And then that's it, There is no more. There are other beliefs that believe that we stay here as the essence, not as ghosts, not as spirits hanging around a place. We don't stay in that sense, but we stay because we're going to be reborn into a new earth, a time when there's going to be a lot of health and beauty and positivity and joyfulness and happiness, where there's a lot of peace. There's no wars, and there's no crime. And that all sounds absolutely fantastic. And that's certainly what Jehovah's Witnesses, for example, believe. And I believe there's other ones like Seventh-day Adventists. I don't know, you may correct me. I think they believe along the same lines as well. And that's really great, where everybody then can live in peace together. Yeah, and it's just absolutely fantastic. There'll be no wars or anything like that. And you've been enjoying a fulfilling life, and more importantly, you won't die anymore. You live eternally, if you like. You can die. Well, this is what Jehovah's Witnesses say. You can die, by accident, or even in the advent that someone does go a bit awry and commits murder. You can die in that sense, but essentially you don't get sick or anything like that, so you wouldn't die from illness or disease or sickness or anything along those lines. And I bought into that. I thought that was great. However, I now feel that there's more to it than that. And what I've been learning and studying over the last little while, last couple of years or so, has bore that out. I believe what they teach, there is something there. It's a great vision for the future, but it's not quite tweaked to the full extent. We don't stay here as spirits. As spirits, once we pass in this realm, once we transition, as they call it, we go to another realm. We go back to where we came from. We go back to our spiritual home. And I believe then that what happens there is we are set down, if you like, sort of almost like going back to school in a sense. But we have a chat. We have like counselling and see how the life went. We have a life review in that sense, and see where we could have improved and see what we could have done better and things like that. There's no judgment. There's no finger pointing or anything like that. There's no admonition. You're not being admonished. You're not being punished in any way, shape or form. You are then, I believe, given a choice. After perhaps a period of recovery, if you need to recover, you're given a choice. Do you want to go back to enjoy another human experience? Or do you want to move on to something else, a different role, perhaps as a guide, or depending on the situation where you are, what level you're at, if you like, how far along you are on your spiritual development, perhaps as a guardian angel, or perhaps you just want to take a break for a while and not do anything, maybe do other things around the realm, the spiritual realm, or just enjoy life, take a break, like a holiday, if you like. You're given that choice. Many obviously do choose to come back, because there's many of us who have had and enjoyed past lives, and each time we've kind of learned different lessons. I've had a few past lives where I've learned different lessons. I've learned several lessons in this life so far that I can point out to, and no doubt there'll be a few more lessons to learn going forward, but I feel I'm further along. My whole life's been a journey, it's a spiritual journey in that sense, and I'm further along now than I ever was before, I feel. So death, in the way that we think of it, isn't the end. There is a Chinese proverb that says that birth is not the beginning and death is not the end. I truly do believe that we move on to a different way of living. We go back, as I said, to the spirit realm, and then we can choose to come back and start all over again. Some are instantaneous, some for example, where there's maybe an agreement made between parents and so on, and because all these minutiae about who and what you're going to be and stuff like that, what path you're going to take, are kind of worked out beforehand, and I'll get back into that in a moment. But then when we get here, we may forget, but where say parent or parents have lost a child, the next time the mother falls pregnant could be the reincarnation, if you like, of that child that they lost first time round. Perhaps it wasn't meant to be, or maybe that was a lesson she had to learn in some ways, as to to appreciate the birth more. Or I don't want to get into that kind of territory, so I don't fully understand it myself. I just feel that we do have certain situations in our lives that we experience, for whatever reason, things don't go quite according to plan. And that's what I was touching on earlier on, just a couple of minutes ago. When we get here, we don't remember, do we? We don't remember the agreements we've made. We don't remember who we're going to meet. And it's not every single step of the way that's worked out. Your life isn't going by some kind of destiny in that sense, that every step has been mapped out and you're supposed to follow it. No, it's maybe just the major points in life, the major turning points in life, where you make changes, where you move on to a next phase of learning, or where you have the chance to do so. But when we get there, we don't remember any of that. So that's where our free will comes into it. And we don't come here with the intent to run amok. We don't come here to cause violence. We don't come here to be a crime lord. We don't come here even to be a saint. We don't make that choice. That's what we do while we are here. That is how our path works out while we are here in this human experience that we are all enjoying. So where things go, let's say, belly up, is where that kind of experience, that free will, goes awry, where we want to do something else which goes against that plan that we've made. And that's when we get reminders, certain signs, certain situations happen in our lives to try and make us, or help us to wake up a little bit and understand that, no, this is not right for you. This is not where you're supposed to be going. You're supposed to be going along this path. This is the choice that you made before you came here. That's had, like I said, where there's major turning points in life. But free will does go awry. And we're seeing that in all different places all around the world. at this moment, where there are those who are taking power and want to hang on to it and things like that. But not only just in those situations, but in other situations where the crime rate is high, or they've got those who commit atrocities for no apparent reason, things like that. That's where free will goes awry. And that doesn't mean to say these individuals can't change, because they can. There is always the possibility of change, even during this human existence. Even while we are here, we can still turn our lives around and become something completely different to what we were before, what we were showing to the world before. I truly do believe that as well, because I know I've changed from the way I used to be. I'm not the same person I used to be 7, 10, 15, 20 years ago. I'm totally different. Totally different way of looking at things, totally different lifestyle. My lifestyle choices today are much more improved than what they used to be. Thinking, acting, mindset, attitude, everything totally changed. And if you like to go from the scientific point of view, our bodies change completely. Even our personalities change completely every 7 years. We are completely different people. Our energy changes in that sense as well. So we go through like a kind of rebirth every 7 years. I think those are perhaps the turning points. I can't set it down to every 7 years. There's no hard and fast rule about this, but perhaps they are. I'm just suggesting perhaps they are the turning points. When we have those 7 year periods where we think about things in a different way, and we choose either to move forward in the same way that we have been doing, or we change direction and go down a different path. And whether we do that consciously or subconsciously, I don't know. I can't have a considered opinion on that. Well, it's not an opinion that can be backed up, put it that way. But I just feel, there could be something there. There could be something in that. So this life that we have isn't all we have, because we can come back. And we may not be able to, in all cases, to come back and remedy what we did in the previous life, especially if we were not so nice a person and situations like that. However, we can come back with those lessons learned, healed from those lessons, the anything that we may have done, and given the chance, if you like, to start again with a blank slate. That doesn't mean to say that we should go out and do what we like and commit all kinds of atrocities and so on, just because we know we're going to have another chance. Because I'm sure if we did do that deliberately, there would be some kind of block put in place where we wouldn't be allowed to come back to enjoy another human experience until we were fully healed from the previous. And if you're fully healed from the previous, you're not going to commit those atrocities in the first place. You're not going to go out and blow people up or commit murders and rapes and even more atrocities going on all around the world, in different countries all around the world. So there is hope. Graveyards like where I am now are not the end. We don't linger. There's no celestial waiting room waiting to see whether we go to a happy place or an unhappy place. There's nothing like that. What we do have is a place, I feel, and I think this is borne out, I would say this is borne out by those who have near-death experiences. It's the kind of thing that they have been reporting, where they are shown certain things, where people are being, say, interviewed, if you like. It's more like counselling sessions when they come up, first Passover, first transition, and then they're given the healing and love that they need to become whole again, if you like, as a soul, to cleanse themselves of the vestiges of that particular human existence. I don't know if that helps. So, as normal, I'm just just a few thoughts that are in my head, and I'm just trying to put them together in some kind of coherent fashion. Hopefully I've done that. And I just felt, yeah, why not jump on and talk about this, because, as I said, I just made a video about it. And I feel that's important, especially with everything that's going on in the world right now. Alright guys, that's it for now. Thank you so much for taking the time out to listen once again, and I look forward to having another chat with you soon. Until then, namaste.